Good evening and welcome. Good evening. Welcome to the Ernest Faison Show. So glad to be back. It's my second show back after this COVID, and we're very, very blessed. Ladies and gentlemen, we do realize we got the Olympic up probably within the next month or so. So I thought, who better to have on the show than a Rhode Island legend, Mr. Thom Spann. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure. I don't say it very often, Thom, but you truly are a Rhode Island legend to be involved in track and field for over 40 years. What led you actually, because I know you're from the Bronx, is that right? Brooklyn.
Yep.
Okay, Holly.
Yep.
Yeah, Brooklyn, New York, and you came here. You played football, correct me if I'm wrong, for URI?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What position did you play?
I was a wide receiver.
Yeah, you look like it.
Yeah.
Lean and mean.
Yeah, a little bigger than I was. I was a little bigger then than I am now.
Yeah. Did you have a good 40 time?
Yeah. I ran 4.5 for the 40. Yeah.
4.5.
Yeah.
So you're at URI, you're playing wide receiver. What happened from there?
So got recruited out of Brooklyn to come to URI, played football, and also ran track during the off-season, stay in shape for football. Track was one of the sports I always truly loved.
Yes, sir.
But football was paying for the education. So that was the number one sport. And I enjoyed it. I was close enough to New York that I can go home often.
Right.
And I decided to make Rhode Island my home. And I finished up at URI and started coaching.
Excellent. I would like to give a shout out right now to Mr. Holly Walton because it's because of Mr. Holly Walton actually that he planted the seed to where we can actually be here right now. So shout out to Holly for actually making it become a reality. And I have a personal relationship with you because Mr. Spann, you trained my daughter.
Yes.
Morgan Faison, my queen, Do you recall her very much?
Yeah. So, as a coach, you coach hundreds of athletes.
Yes, sir.
And some athletes, come and go real quick, but those who hang around a while, you get to know them, and you watch them grow, you watch them, go through the program and improve. And your daughter was one of those athletes who, though she didn't run for me in high school, she participated in our youth program.
That's right, and she's a chip off the old block.
Yeah, cool.
I used to be a half-mile guy.
Oh, great.
And she was half-mile as well. When you ran, what did you run?
I ran sprints, 100, 200, 400.
Yeah.
And
you would seem like you would have done something like that.
Yeah,
because you were more lean, and I had these long legs. So, I'm gaping strides. Maybe I could have used you back then.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I could have been in one of these things called Olympics.
Yeah, who knows? Right now, I'm more built like an 800 runner than a sprinter.
Yeah. And you still run now.
Yeah, I still run and I cycle.
Right.
Just for the health of it.
Which we'll get into, and we do realize that you put a lot of miles on those legs, sir.
Yes, sir.
For sure. Do you run still now?
Yes, I try to run 3 days a week.
Okay.
And then I cycle 3 days a week and I have one rest day.
Yeah. Now, in the course of a day, how many miles will you cover in the course of a day?
It depends. So if I'm just training just to maintain a base, I'm doing 3 to 5 miles. If I'm training for a half marathon or 10K or something like that, I would increase my miles. My long ones would be 10 miles, 6 to 10s, 8s.
Okay.
Stay in that area.
So I do realize, Mr. Spann, that you are the co-founder of the Providence Cobra Running Club.
Yes, sir.
For over 30 years. What was the motivation behind you actually getting that set up?
So when I was at URI, they used to put on youth meets.
Yes.
And there was a group of minority kids, because back in then, down in the 70s, down South Kingston, wasn't a lot of people that looked like us down there. So I see all these black kids from Providence down with Kevin Jackson, and it was the YMCA youth track team. So I'm like, hey, where's these kids from? And I want to get to know them. And a couple of years later, I wind up moving to Providence. And I knew they were at the Eastside YMCA, so when I moved to Providence, and I lived like maybe a half a mile from the YMCA, I walked over to the YMCA and introduced myself to Kevin again and asked him if I can volunteer to help coach the YMCA track club. So long story short, the YMCA due to lack of funding, had to back out of the youth sports area.
Yes.
And then Kevin and I decided to take it under our own and make it the Providence Cobras.
Were you able to secure grants and different type of stipends to make this actually become a reality?
Yes. So we were able to get grants, and we got private donations from local business people. I became the director of the Chad Brown Community Center, which was a nonprofit United Way agency. So, that was kind of like our umbrella agency that we ran everything through.
Right, that's excellent. Now, you say you've actually influenced hundreds. Me and Mr. Walton believes that it's been thousands that's come across your path, 40 years.
Yeah.
And then we spoke about it in the green room. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a green room, and we do come and prep our guests. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so again, a pleasure to have you on. But the other thing that I want to speak to you about is here we are now. We're wearing something called a mask. And I asked my last guest on the show, how did we get to this point? So I just found out today or yesterday that in Tokyo, there are not going to be any spectators.
There won't be any foreign spectators.
Foreign spectators, that's right. Don't bring it over here.
No.
Yeah, don't bring it over here.
Well, and then it's for the safety of spectators too, because, the numbers are high in Tokyo right now in Japan. So
extremely high.
Yeah, so they're dealing with a new variants, and so they're protecting the spectators who might be coming in, and also protecting themselves.
Do you feel as though, Mr. Spann, that they dropped the ball, knowing that the Olympics were coming, and we are trying to achieve herd immunity,
right?
And that is 70% of the population. It just seems to me that Japan, Tokyo, they dropped the ball because knowing that the Olympics, the world is watching, why wouldn't you try to vaccinate or push to vaccinate more people in your country? Well, your thought process.
Personally, I don't think they dropped the ball. I mean, number one, the Olympics were supposed to be last year. And of course, the pandemic hit. So everything pushed back a year. So I think in a lot of countries, it's not mandatory. You can't force people to take
this is true.
the vaccine. All right? And a lot of people can deny it for religious reasons or whatever. So, I mean, they did the best they could. I mean, the most important thing right now is that we are going to have an Olympic game, and our athletes will be able to compete against all the other athletes from around the world. And regardless of if there are going to be a lot of spectators there or not, they're still going to have the opportunity to shine, because our athletes work 4 years, 4 hard years for 1 year. For this 1 year to run in the Olympics, or throw, or swim, or gymnastics, or whatever the sport might be. And so, I mean, they're not worried about who's in the stand right now. They're just happy to be there and can participate. And thank God for TV, social media. We'll be able to view it, see it, run replays, and enjoy it.
You really brought up a good point, and that is that the Olympics were supposed to take place in 2020.
Yes.
Now here we are, by the way, in 2021. Why is it that, 3 or 4 years from now, I mean, is it going to throw off the natural occurrence of 4 years?
No. They're going to go back. So instead of the next 4 years, the next Olympics will be in 3 years in Paris. So
okay.
They're going to get back on schedule. Just like the World Championships were supposed to be this year. Last year. Actually, this year, they moved it up 1 year to 2022, but then they're going to go back and schedule.
Okay.
So they're not going to take the 4 year break.
A little confusing for me.
Yeah.
And here we are. I love to say this. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching PEG RITV. The Lord has blessed me good enough to be back on this show. My name is Ernest Faison. I'm the host of this show. I'm so honored to have one of Rhode Island's legends, Mr. Thom Spann. He has influenced and trained thousands of kids in the track industry, including my daughter, by the way. And we'll take pictures, and I'm going to send one to her. Just give her a shout out. She'll be like, Dad. I can hear her right now.
Cool.
But it really is a blessing. And I've seen you through the years, been through some of the track meets the first week in June there at Brown University. And you have had some studs on your program, in your program. Can you name just a few of them and what they've done? And because we spoke about it in the green room.
Yeah. So, I've been very blessed to be a part of the Hope High School family. Holly Walton is a Hope alum. He's a legend.
He really is, with that 2 hours and 23 minutes.
Yeah. And Holly was a great miler in high school, and he ran for a great coach, Ted McLaughlin. So Hope High School has a history of great coaches. I wasn't the first one, so I kind of followed in some big footsteps. And like I said, I was very fortunate to come along and be able to start a girls track team because there was no girls track team in the city of Providence.
Yes, sir.
And so we had a youth program for girls, but we had nowhere for them to go once they got into high school. So I started the girls program at Hope. And Pam Hughes was like my first All-American. She was an unbelievable athlete. She still holds a state record in long jump. This is like over 35 years old now. And, Pam's doing excellent. Her daughter just ran for me a couple years ago and just graduated from college. So she's one of the athletes who stands out.
One thing I appreciate about you is even though these people run at Hope, you emphasize education.
Always.
And that's what I appreciate because a lot of times people don't do that, and you let them know that you want to make money with your brain instead of your brawn.
Exactly.
And I really, really do have a great appreciation for that. And your people have done very, very well who've come through the program, which is a credit to you, Mr. Thom Spann.
Yeah, well, we always preach that. We told our kids, always use track. Don't let track use you.
Oh.
Use it as a vehicle to get to the next level.
That's almost like we say back in the crib, play the game, don't let the game play you.
Exactly.
I'm there. Exactly. I got that.
Because a lot of our kids, everybody wants to be an Olympian, but we know the odds are against you. But that education is so important.
That's right.
And they can't take that degree away from you.
I was just going to say it. You took the words right out of my mouth. And me being a Dallas Cowboy fan,
I won't hold that against you.
Oh, you like who?
I'm a New Yorker. Come on.
Oh, yeah, Giants or the Jets?
Jets primarily.
Yeah. I feel bad. Joe Namath.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. Joe Willie Namath. Was I born then?
Yeah. The last time we won a Super Bowl, I was watching on black and white TV.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, but you were telling me about the gentleman who was actually trying to become a fullback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, Deion Anderson. So Deion was a Hope. He ran one year for us and went on and had a very successful career at the University of Connecticut and then signed on with the Dallas Cowboys. And he actually stuck with the team for a few years as a fullback. But, that position is kind of dying out.
It is.
So, unfortunately, his pro career was cut short.
No, he went to the Jets. That's what he did.
Yeah. I would have loved to have him on the Jets.
Yes, indeed. Hey, I told you this conversation with Flo.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
Yes.
And it's fun because I've admired your work for so long.
Thank you.
And I've seen the kids and just how they just walk and talk differently after they come out of that program over at Hope.
Yep.
And it's a credit to you for sure, as we look at it. I understand that you went to the 2008 Olympics.
Yes, sir.
What was that like for you? China, right? Was that in
China? Yes. So
the Bird's Nest, right?
The Bird's Nest, yes.
The Bird's Nest.
Yeah. That was
sir.
an amazing. That was amazing. So I've been traveling overseas to World Championships, and that was my first Olympic experience.
Okay.
And was in Beijing.
Right.
And China's an amazing country. I got to visit the Great Wall and the Forbidden Village and all those other places like that the tourists normally go to. But the Olympic Games itself was unbelievable because that's when Usain Bolt broke the world record. I was there to witness him breaking the world record in the
100, right?
And the 200 meters.
And the 200.
Yes, so that was it was an amazing meet. Michael Phelps, that's the year he won all the medals in swimming.
Yeah, that's right.
The U.S. basketball team won. So yeah, it was quite an experience to be in China.
God rest Kobe Bryant's soul, because he helped bring it home there.
Yes.
I think Kobe hit the game-winning shot or something there.
He might have.
I remember that. That Olympics there was amazing, wasn't it?
It was amazing, and the facilities that they built for the Olympics were second to none.
I know it was like we say, a bird's nest.
Yeah, the stadium was built like a bird's nest. Yeah, and it had a roof covering so that spectators stayed dry when it rained. It was a track-only facility. Where the swimmers were right next door to us.
Yes.
And they took good care of us. The people in China treated us amazingly nice, and we had a good time over there.
That's an experience you'll take to your grave with you.
Always.
How many people can say they've been to an Olympics?
Yeah. It's kind of like one of those things you have on that
bucket list.
Check off. Bucket list.
Like me when I skydive.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Like my stepfather, 82nd Airborne, he said, "Wah."
Yeah,
country boy. You jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Exactly.
Back then, the 82nd Airborne, he say for $220. So now when I go back home, I can share that experience with him, kind of like a bucket list thing.
Oh, yeah.
When I think about track and field, I look back when Michael Johnson,
yes,
when he ran that 1932
Yes.
In that 200.
1996 Olympics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then he took his gold shoes off and he sprayed them. I was like, man, this is incredible. I did not know a human being could move this fast.
Well, the 1996 Olympics, I was a member of the Olympic torch relay. So I carried the torch as it came. You know, when you have the Olympics in your country, the torch travels through every state in your country. So
I wondered how that went.
So when the torch came from Massachusetts to Rhode Island, we met it at the border in Pawtucket, and then it was a group of us that took turns carrying it until we got to the State House. I was the last runner. So I got to carry it up the State House stairs and light the cauldron.
Oh.
And so I lit the cauldron for the Olympics, and that torch is actually the same torch they made more than that Muhammad Ali lit in Atlanta.
I'm glad that you brought that up because 1996 Atlanta, because you knew Ali had Parkinson's disease.
Yes.
And I was like, Lord, please steady his hand.
Yes.
And when Ali held that torch and seemed like God just took his hand and said, you will be still, and lit that torch, it was unbelievable.
It was amazing.
Yeah, 1996, and you were a torch carrier.
I carried I was a member of the Olympic torch relay.
That is incredible. And then I look at people like, Carl Lewis. Carl Lewis was
legendary.
Amazing.
Yes.
Not only in the sprints, but also the long jump.
Of course.
You know, he would be like one of those alpha males that only come along maybe once in a lifetime.
True.
You know?
True. One of the greatest ever. I mean, I got the opportunity to see Carl Lewis compete in high school.
Oh, in Houston?
From Willingboro. He's from Willingboro, New Jersey. He's from Willingboro, yeah.
Almost like a homeboy.
Yeah. So I got to see him run, and actually, when he was young, Doug Terry, God bless his soul, who was the first black track coach at Brown University, used to put on youth meets. And he would invite teams out of New York and New Jersey up to participate. And Carl Lewis's mother, Evelyn, and his father, Bill, had a youth track team, the Willingboro Track Club. And he would bring all those great athletes up when they were young.
Wow.
So Carl Lewis, his sister, Carol, who was a great Olympic
Yeah, she was. Carol was.
Dennis Mitchell and a bunch of great athletes.
Dennis could never get that 100-meter time. Well, because Carl was there.
Carl was there, but he was always a member of the relay team.
Yes, he was.
He was always that third leg that got to stick to Carl.
Yeah, and I can speak to you like this because you're a historian. And then I look at FloJo.
Unbelievable.
And what she did, and the outfits, and what was it, 10:49 or whatever she ran. It was just amazing.
10:48, and they thought that this new young girl, Sha'Carri Richardson, who got jammed
which
up,
we're going to speak on.
She was going to be the next FloJo. She was making a fashion statement, but unfortunately, she's still young. Sometimes say they're young and dumb, and they around the wrong people. They got to, water down their entourage.
What was her last name again?
Richardson.
So for those of you who don't know Sha'Carri Richardson, you've heard about her in the news. She ran, the 100 meters?
100 meters, yep.
And unfortunately, she partook in cannabis. And you can't do that because, that's the rules are the rules.
It's a banned substance.
Even though I found this out, Mr. Spann, where she smoked the weed at in Portland, it was legal.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The rules are the rules.
It's in your system.
I'm with you. I'm with you. But you think they need to revisit that at some point?
I think at some point because they already did it for the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball, where now you got cannabis that's used for multiple purposes now.
That's right. So, glaucoma, whatever.
Yeah, municipal purposes, whatever. So, I think they need to revisit that because the penalty is not that harsh. It's only 30 days.
Right.
And she's still eligible for the Olympics, but for the relay team only. But
That's right.
The U.S. has already declared that they won't let her run.
I'm glad you brought that up because she's not going to be able to run against the girl from
Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price.
Yeah, she's a beast.
Yeah.
Is she on something?
Yams.
Because,
she's on yams.
Yams.
And
yams come from Africa. Wow, said the Southern preacher.
Yes.
You're killing me right here, right now, man. No, but I don't know if anybody's going to be able to beat her. And here she is, about 32 years old.
Yeah,
which
she's
is
32.
unheard
She
of
had
in
a
the
baby, but you know what? There's some Dina Asher-Smith from Great Britain is another great sprinter who's originally Jamaican roots, but grew up in London. Elaine Thompson, her countrywoman, is capable of beating her. You got to have your A game.
Ben Johnson, 1988.
Yeah.
When he came out of them blocks and beat Carl Lewis, I said, there's something wrong right here.
He was all
and come to find out, it was anabolic. Anabolic steroid.
He was coming out of his eyeballs.
Yeah, well, but did you see how he came out of them tracks?
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
He had a unique start. He had what they call a jump start.
Okay.
Most people drive out. He jumped up and started running. But he was so powerful that he was able to do that.
From Canada, right? I guess
Canada.
he ran for Canada.
Yep.
Yeah, and Skeets Nehemiah.
Greatest hurdler ever, probably.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Ronaldo ran for the University of Maryland. He's a New Jersey kid also.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is there something in the water in New Jersey?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
I don't know if you heard of Sydney McLaughlin. She's the next big thing in track and field.
Yeah.
She just broke the world record in the 400-meter hurdles.
Sister girl.
She's from New Jersey also.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Spann gonna rub it in there. New Jersey. You're running for Senate in New Jersey over there.
I mean, when people think of track, they think of Texas, Florida, and California.
That's true. And LSU a little bit.
Yeah, that's Louisiana.
Yeah.
But, a lot of those kids come from different parts of the South, but they don't realize how much talent's in the Northeast.
That's true.
You got Athene Mood, who's like a beast in 800 right now. She's a favorite, gold medalist favorite, and she's only 19 years old.
Yeah.
Sydney McLaughlin's only 20, 21.
See, this is your skill set. You right at home.
I can talk track all day.
You right at home.
Yeah.
So when I think about you and I think about track and field and me being a youth, a young lad, and Edwin Moses, unbelievable.
One of my favorites. I got his poster in my basement still.
To be able to take a computer and measure, 12 steps or 13 steps in between
the hurdles.
I'm like, man, this dude is smart, man.
Yes.
Who else is doing this? You can't make this up.
No. Well, Edwin was unbelievable student at Morehouse.
Yeah.
He's a Morehouse grad.
Right.
And
Spelman Morehouse. Yeah.
And
Dr. King.
He was an engineer major and a very intelligent guy. And he had that race down to a science. And he executed it. That's the most important thing. You can have it down to a science, but then you got to be able to execute it. So you had to do the work. You just couldn't just put numbers down on a piece of paper and say, okay, this is how you get from here to there in that much time. Now you got to go out and you got to pay the price.
That's right. That's right. And for those who on a longer scale, I mean, I'm looking at New York Marathon. I'm looking at, and Brother Holly here would appreciate that. I mean, Alberto Salazar. Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. What do you think about this? Is the Kenyan who had the shoes that they were saying that were controversial, who broke the
2-hour barrier.
Your thoughts on that, because you're a foremost expert on that, and I'm curious to know what your feedback would be as far as that's concerned.
I mean, technology and just things have changed. We're no longer, Jesse Owens ran in leather shoes.
That's right.
On a dirt track.
That's right.
They didn't have starting blocks. They used to have a little trowel. They used to dig a hole and put their foot in the hole. So over time, things are going to improve. Tracks are going to get better. He went to Ohio State,
Yes, sir.
So tracks are going to get better. Shoes are going to get better. And now we're at a point now where they're making shoes out of what's called carbon fiber, which is a lighter material and very resilient and has a lot of spring to it. So a lot of people are saying it's not fair because the records that these guys are breaking with these new shoes are technically a lot better, all right? But it is what it is. I mean, everything comes with its time.
Right. I remember, was it the 36 Olympics there when Hitler went to shake his hand and Hitler turned that way? Yeah. And who do we have? Althea Gibson?
And tennis. Wilma Rudolph was on women's team. Wilma was a track girl.
Right.
Wilma Rudolph. Althea was
amazing. So there's a lot of lineage here.
Oh, yeah.
It's so rich. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and you had, so Althea and Wyoming Tyus and all those young women, they all went to Tennessee State University.
Right.
They all went to HBCU.
Yes, sir.
And Ed Temple was the coach.
Historically back to university.
That was like the top school for track because people look like us couldn't go to LSU, couldn't go to Florida, couldn't go to Georgia. It wasn't welcome. So the great athletes back then went to the Gramblin's, to the Tennessee State University.
Eddie Robinson.
A&M, Eddie Robinson, exactly.
Yeah, this is amazing. And then I look at Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
Can he get that record and the 200?
I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think
is he not strong enough?
I think he's still young. I think he's going to develop. It's going to take time. I mean, Usain Bolt was young when he broke the world record.
Yeah.
But 1919 is very fast. Noah Lyles had a good Olympic trials. He had a couple of rough spots. He didn't run well early, but eventually he did come through. And so, I'm rooting for Noah. He's a super guy. He's very entertaining on the track. And his mother and father both ran track at Seton Hall. One of my former Hope kids, Leah Grant.
Oh wow! So they're in New Jersey there.
They ran for they went to school in New Jersey. Noah ran for T.C. Williams
Right.
in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
The same T.C. Williams that was in a movie for football with Denzel Washington.
Okay. Yeah, I went to North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro.
Yeah, Greensboro. That's where we have the nationals at for high school.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. The historical sit-ins and all this type of stuff.
Yep.
So, there's a lot of history here. I'm so glad that we're having this conversation. Like I say, it's a perfect segue.
Mm-hmm.
You will agree, because the Olympics are right here. But
Couple weeks.
Yeah, more importantly, we're here to lift you up and to know that they gave you a pretty nice bike, Thom.
Oh, yeah. I'm blessed, my former students and family members and friends secretly behind my back over 3 months was planning this get together, and they surprised me with.
I understand you also did quite a stint of time at UPS.
Yeah. So UPS was a great job for me because it allowed me to do what I wanted to do during the day. It was a part-time job that started like at 4 in the morning, and I was out by 8:30, 9 o'clock every morning. So I had my days free to do what I enjoyed doing. So I served as a director at Chad Brown Community Center for some 14 years, then moved over to the city of Providence, where I was director of the Vincent Brown Rec Center. But I always had the time to coach. So it always gave me that ability to coach and travel with the kids.
That's a beautiful thing. Again, we're here for one season. And one of my sayings is, can you leave it better than you found it? And I think that you got a PhD in that, because you have definitely influenced so many kids, because they are the future. Like
they are.
And you understand that, and it's a beautiful thing. So I'm honored and I'm blessed to definitely been able to indulge you and to pick your track brain. And what's the old elder statesman who still running the 100 meter?
Justin Gatlin.
Has he ever won it?
He won the gold.
He did win it 1 year.
He won Olympics too.
How about Donovan? Remember Donovan Bailey?
Donovan Bailey and him and Michael Johnson hooked up in that 150-meter race. That Johnson pulled the muscle because he was so far behind. Yeah. But Donovan Bailey, he ran for Jamaica.
Yeah.
Great athlete.
Must be something in the water there in Jamaica. Well, they run barefoot too, somebody told me.
Well, it's not just the water, it's the climate, and plus they don't have as many sports, so they don't have many distractions. Track in Jamaica is like what basketball is in the United States.
Okay.
You don't see Jamaicans in NBA.
No, you
don't see Jamaicans playing football. You might see more now because they grew up here in the United States. But in the city, in Jamaica, the main sport in Jamaica is track, cricket, and soccer.
That's right. I've been to Jamaica twice. You are correct. And like you say, I just think that they can focus a little bit better. Is that correct?
Yeah. And there's a way out. So, a lot of scholarships out there. So these kids are running at champs in May and March and April, and they want to get the exposure so the college coaches can recruit them.
I like what you said, though, with track, it's a way out. Use track. How did you say that again?
Use track. Don't let track use you.
Yeah.
Use it as a vehicle. So these kids in Jamaica, they're running fast times, and before you know it, they're getting scholarships to Texas, LSU, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. They're coming to the States, not only, getting experience and exposure in track, but getting an education.
Right. Well, maybe if they can graduate from college, maybe they can help out the Jets.
The Jets are going to be all right. Trust me. Don't sleep on us, man. Everybody knows about Jets, man. But
you have been watching the Ernest Faison Show. I hope that we jarred your memory and brought you back in the track. This man has influenced a lot of people, even my daughter. God bless you. Take care of yourself. Until next time, we out.